Hey everyone, this is Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot, and welcome back to our channel on the POTA Performers. And today I have a voice, a call sign that many of you should be familiar with. Whiskey 5, Whiskey Papa Sierra. Martin joins us from, it looks like he's in a nice relaxed park environment there in Arkansas. How you doing, my friend? It's finally nice to put a face, voice, well, I knew the voice, a face to the call sign.
Yeah, Stuart, how are you? I'm doing good, man. Yep, out here in my park, throw an antenna up to play around, my friend. There you go.
Awesome. That's the way to do it. So, hey, tell us a little about yourself and your ham radio journey. How did you get into ham radio? What tweaked your interest back in the day when you first got involved?
Boy, that's a story, a long one. I'm 58 years old, but from the far as I can remember back, Mom and Dad had a radio in their car, CB, right? So my handle was Little Bear back at the time. My dad he got his license on January the 1st, 1970. His call sign was Whiskey November 5 Alpha Oscar Charlie. Angry old cuss. I still have his brass plated key. So I grew up with radio. I grew up with my dad building stuff. I've got a scar on this wrist right here. I was 6 years old in the ham shack, and I reached over to get something. Soldering iron got me right there, baby. But from there, I witnessed my dad build his own stuff. He had the 65-foot tower with the tri-beamer on it, and we'd climb it as kids, and I'd get in trouble, of course. But what I saw with amateur radio was a man sitting in his shack building stuff. My dad built everything and helping other dudes do stuff, at the same. I never saw the outside because I'm an outside kid and I want to be outside. So it wasn't until 2012 that communications piqued my interest, if you will. We backpack and hike a lot, and we used FRS to stay in touch with each other. But when the lights go out, seriously go out, when they flip the switch, I knew I needed something else. So I called my dad and said, I'm ready to take the test. My dad said, it's about time. So he said, I'll have a package in the mail for you in 3 days. And what I got was a 3-ring binder with the tech question pool, all the incorrect answers marked out, and the general question pool, same thing. So a week later, I took my test, passed the tech, missed the general by 2. I grew up knowing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was around it, so it was embedded. So I knew what that was, and I knew what that was. So, and here I am. My first radio was a FT757GX2. I got it for $275 from my dad's best friend, Eldon, who lives not very far from here, with a MFJ Matchbox. My first antenna, Dad told me, he said, go over to that old house and pull that antenna out of the attic. So I knocked on the door. They said, go ahead. Stuart, I pulled out a full-length 80-meter dipole with 75 feet of ladder line through the soffit of the house in a space about 1.5 inches by about 1 inch. I had a wad of mess. I took that sucker home, threw it on top of the house, put the ladder line all over the whirly burrows, and stretched that thing for 26 feet down to the fence posts that were about 6 feet. And it was game on from that point. Here you go. The portable operations didn't start till I got my Yaesu 857, and I built a full-length Wyndham. Man, I would drag that thing out in the woods where we camped and stuff and string that thing up and have a blast. Didn't even know anything about POTA. That was in 2014. We did that for several years, and then a crash happened. And I'll be honest, I destroyed my life for 13 years with alcohol. Just destroyed it. So in 2023, I had to find something to fill that void. I broke out that 857. I pulled out that same Wyndham, hung it up at my QTH, and got on the road, so to speak. There you go.
Hey, that definitely sounds like a very interesting story. And having a father who was a ham kind of got you down the track, right? But it wasn't until you realized one day that said, hey, I want to do this for myself. So that's great. And I've always admired your tenacity for portable operations. Man, when you're out there, you've got to be like one of the most energetic activators. Oh, there's many, but you got to be like the cream of the crop when it comes to energy. I mean, you're always. I never find a day where you're just kind of down. Like you're always playing at 100%. I mean, that's got to have give you great results, and not only just what you do on the radio, but in your life.
I appreciate that, and I do. And I've come to the point after that total destruction, Stuart. Yesterday's gone. What's going to happen here in a second ain't nothing but a fantasy. We only got one right now, and I'm grateful to have breath in my lungs. And POTA gives me the opportunity to go in crazy places. Dude, I've broken my truck in the woods. Had to be towed out once. K5 MBL. No, what's his call sign? Kilo 5 November Bravo Lima. Had to come jump my truck. So it's an adventure, man. And that's what I like about this stuff.
If you're going to take my 2005 truck into the woods, you know, that thing's she's an old girl, but she runs like a charm, right?
Right.
You know, but I'm always fearful that day of, you know, get out there and something goes wrong. You know, I was out at Birds Hill I think it's Birds Hill. I'm going out there this year because now I know what to expect. But last year I went out to reconnaissance because, you know, being an ex-military guy, I want to reconnaissance before I go somewhere I don't know anything about.
Right.
Google Maps and Google Satellite View doesn't tell you the whole story. So I get out there. There's a huge TransAlta wind farm, wind turbines everywhere. And I knew there's wind turbines because you can see them on the satellite imagery. But the location looks like it's just sparsely treed, right? Very few trees. But when you get out there, there's these what do they call them? Poplars, these little trees. They're everywhere. There's no way you can get into these things. Anyway, so I get out there with my truck and I go to, and you're bouncing around because, you know, winter was hard on these dirt roads and you're bouncing around. I go to turn around and it was like I had to Armstrong steering, right? So I blew the high pressure hose on my power steering. So I managed to get home. Thank goodness there wasn't a lot of turns on the way home, but I managed to get home and that's what happens, right? When you go out there to live your dream.
That's exactly right. About, 3 weeks ago, I was way off someplace. When I left the road, I didn't have cell service, and I knew I had to go 17 miles down gravel roads that turned into goat trails because I'll take map and go, there's the boundary, and then I'll look at another, and I'll drop a pin, and that's the way I get there. And coming out of there, I heard this loud pop. What the heck was that? So I get out, go inspect, didn't see anything. Get back in the truck. The rotation was screech. Now I'm on I'm creeping down a goat trail. Okay. Heard it again. Get out. I've got a cut boot. I missed it. All right. Long story short, I just prayed, Lord, get me home. I got home Monday. I took it. Well, I called my mechanic, and the first thing he said was, "What'd you break this time?" You know, your CV boot, right? When it comes down, it's a honeycomb inside of that with ball bearings. So it does this. I sheared half of it wasn't even there, and the other half was not even doing anything. And my mechanic he said, I don't see how you made it home. The spindle, that's all it was, dude, the spindle. And I had 3 hours to drive home.
Oh, wow. So you do a lot. You do a lot of parks activations that are remote. And I know sometimes you take some friends with you. Would you advise, if you're going out there to a place like that, to bring someone with you and kind of do a multi activator activation?
Most definitely. Nathan and I used to activate all the time, but he kind of went a little bit with his business. But James and I, KJ5RT, we activate quite a bit, and we've gone places. But he's got a family, so he got stuff to do. So me, I can take off. But yeah, I try to get people to come with me. Hey, I'll be up there. Let's roll. So it is what it is. If they want to go, come on, let's go.
Yeah, because you're going out to some pretty remote places. Obviously, you go 17 miles down a goat trail.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I'm not well, I'll activate a city park if I've got to make the yellow dot turn green. But I'd rather be out in the middle of nowhere, no people. You know what I'm saying? Just to get out and relax and enjoy, because you see some really cool stuff out there, man.
And now, that's a theme talking to a lot of people, yourself, Gary, VA3 Golf Hotel Bravo, even the guy I just spoke to, Devin, VA3 Fox Oscar Julia, who lives up in Northern Ontario, who shared me his 9-day canoe trip to activate a park. Programs like POTA, Worldwide Flora and Fauna, and all the others that are out there. But POTA primarily because that's the most popular one of the bunch. It allows us to go places that we normally wouldn't go to. The ham radio is just the end part of it, but it allows us to go see things that I would never go to these places if it wasn't for ham radio.
That's right. Adventure. That's it. Adventure. I've seen some places in Arkansas that I didn't even know they were there. And you just come up over the top of the hill and go, oh my goodness, look at this. You know, that's really the main thing of it. And I get to throw antenna in a tree, right?
You always have a great signal up this way, no matter if the bands are lousy or great. You're always sounding good. So tell us a little about your setup. What are you running to have such a great signal?
My main antenna is my end-fed half wave. Love my end-fed half wave. You can do so much with it. It's so versatile. But I went down the rabbit hole of trying to make it better. But you know, an end-fed half wave, it is what it is, right? And with MM0OPX and watching what he does with the wrapping of his toroid, I finally got a combination that works. And that's that bigger toroid. It's still a 43 material, the one that ends in 1002. And I tap it, and that makes all the difference in the world as far as your power out. I think readings 89 to 92% efficient. But again, end-fed half wave is what it is. Now, I do run if you want to call it the POTA Performer, the elevated vertical. I love that bad boy. The only thing is I can't sit there and switch bands, because if I see you spotted, I want to run over here real quick. You see what I'm saying? But that POTA Performer, that vertical, that elevated vertical, there's something to be said for that antenna, especially on top of a peak, right?
I've been using that one quite a bit for some recent. I stopped using my end-fed half wave, and I'll tell you why. Because I was using these camouflage army poles, and once you get 6 or 7 of them put together, that thing is a beast to elevate it. It's heavy,
right?
And as I get older, my physical strength starts to deteriorate a little bit. And not that I can't move it, but it just gets more and more of a challenge to get it positioned properly. So I said, I'm going to stop using the end-fed half wave. When I did my first activations, I would throw it up in a tree and use a rope and pull it up. And I said, I'll get these tent poles or camouflage poles and do that.
Right.
And then I stumbled upon the Performer, and I used that quite a bit recently. Thanks to Salty Walt and Callum M0XXT, I fell in love with the DX Commander poles.
Yeah,
those are good poles. Talk about versatile and lightweight, right? Yes, so now I got to get it, because I used the My Antennas end-fed half wave, which is a great end-fed half wave from they're built in Florida.
Right.
Greg KJ60R swears by them. For his, when he needs a 49 or a 56-1 balance for something, he swears by their product. And I had great success with that end-fed half, just like you. Great success with it in my early days of doing POTA. And then I wanted to experiment and try new things. But the POTA Performer or the Performer, as it's officially known, that is such a great antenna. Now I'm going to be building some of his other ones. I want to build. I did a video. I don't know if you saw it. I did the POTA Performers in parasitic array.
I did not see that.
I had one out as a director and one as the main driven element. And Greg said, just instead of a director, make it a reflector, and it'll even be better. And then so I've done that. You can also make I think it's called the Marauder, which is two performers that are made like you run a wire across the top from one to the other, and a wire from the bottom from one to the other. They don't connect. There's a small little bit of
right
whipper. I call it whipper snipper wire, right, to insulate it from each. But that's supposed to be very, very good as well. But I want to build the the Challenger.
Yeah, the half wave off center fed. You're talking antennas and stuff, and I just go, I'm really listening. How far did you set the elements apart? You see what I'm saying? That kind of, I love that stuff. Love it.
And that's gonna be my focus this year. Is just experiment with new things. Like I've done all the parks near me. I've over and over again. Sometimes many times. I got kilos multiplied by 10 at some of them. That's the nice thing about this hobby. It's all about experimenting, trying new things. If it's like going somewhere new off the beaten track, or even just going to your local city park and testing a new antenna. I never stop experimenting, right?
Right, exactly, man. That's what my dad said this. I got a funny story about that. Build your own antennas. That way you won't have to use a matchbox. Okay. Well, one day I was up at my dad's house in Tennessee, and we're in there. He's going to show you something. I said, hold on. What's this right here? And he knew. He goes, oh, shut up. Anyway, so he's running through a tuner, right? Rock on.
Yep. So that's just got to keep playing. You can't see my shop, but I got wire everywhere, balance everywhere. that's my goal for this year, is just try new places. I may go to the same places over and over again, but I'm going to be taking. I got a Radioddity. What's the latest Radioddity that I haven't even unpackaged yet? It's still sitting in the box. I got a hex beam that I bought a year and a half ago that I have for portable that I've set up in my yard just to test it. Right?
You haven't taken it out yet?
I haven't taken it out in the field yet.
Come on, man.
I haven't had a reason. Now, my wife said to me the other day, she said, I don't want to go camping this summer. I said, okay, well, you don't have to. She doesn't like it. But I said, I like it. She said, go, take Archie with it. Go camping. I said, I can go for 3 or 4 days and you're not. No, go ahead. I want the house to myself. I said, okay, no problem.
Game on. Yes.
I am not a multiple activator type of guy. I like to go out by myself just because my style is, my style. It's contest like it's fast.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I find if I can't go with somebody, then I got to kind of slow down to their speed. But I think I'm rethinking that a little bit too, because it creates some really good bonds with the community, right? With other amateurs, which I think is the other part of ham radio that we don't often identify, that this hobby is about creating there's a rich V1 RPX mentioned. There's a social component of ham radio.
Yes, there is. There sure is, man. The friendships that I've made, Whiskey 0 Kilo Echo Germany, he sent me his phone number. I'm like, man, you shouldn't have done that. So, it's stuff like that, getting to know all these guys. And even though you may not meet them face to face, you build an acquaintance it brightens your day when you get to talk to them, right?
Absolutely. When I started reaching out to people about this idea, it was Greg KJ60R that gave me the idea. He wanted a platform where he can show off some of his new graphs and stuff around his antennas. I said, I don't have a problem doing that. And I said, I have one stipulation though. I get to call the series the POTA Performers. He says, I'm all good with that. Just helps increase the brand, right? It's perfect. We're all good.
Game on.
Yeah. So the first POTA Performer interview I did was with Whiskey 0 Kilo Echo Germany. I couldn't think of a better person who's got one of the most identifiable voices in POTA to come on, because the guy, I was telling him, I either work a station before you, or you work it after I work it after you, or you work after I do. And it's constant, like the same, we're always chasing the same guys. It's
funny. It's funny, man.
And then N3 FMC, which is another great voice in our POTA world. Yep. So there's a lot those voices in the middle of your pileup when you're just trying. You can always hear that a certain. That's Jeff, or that's Kevin. You see what I'm saying? I can pick you out immediately. So it's just that tone. It's a key. Their voices. So that's good stuff, Stuart. That's good stuff. And those are the guys you can always count on for your. I always say 10 contacts is a kind of a low threshold. Because I'm out there doing 500, 600 contacts in the noting.
Yeah.
So, but I can always count on those guys to be there, to be a contact, right?
Yep.
Same with you. If I'm out there, I can always count on Whiskey 5 Whiskey Papa Sierra is going to be there at least once, right?
I'm gonna try.
After you get out there and adjust your POTA Performer antenna to get on the band, because I don't. Yesterday was funny because the bands were just lousy yesterday. I was very fortunate to be part of the VE9 RAC team for World Amateur Radio Day. So I said, I'm going to go out and do portable. I'm going out to Fort Boisier, or I'll go somewhere, but I ended up going to Fort Boisier, which is on the Nova Scotia New Brunswick border. I said, I want to do that. And so yesterday I had to run 20 meters the whole time because the bands were just lousy. But hey, that's a topic for another day, how to prepare for the bottom of the solar cycle.
Yeah, right. Because don't they say one's coming soon?
Oh, we're on the decline now. So we're starting to see it. And we talked about antenna efficiencies are going to be the biggest thing that we can share with the POTA crowd. Is if you still want to be successful doing POTA and don't lose interest in it, get yourself an efficient antenna today.
That's the entire key right there.
Yep, exactly.
That's it. You got to know what your antenna's doing. You got to look at the numbers, pay attention to them.
You can have success throwing a wire in a tree with an antenna tuner when the cycle's good, but when the cycle's bad, you need something that's going to resonate.
It's got to. So that's just antenna 101, man. Right? Look at the number and go from there.
Exactly. So what lessons can you share with the POTA crowd? Hey, I'm a new activator. And I'm looking to Martin. I'm looking to you as a seasoned veteran in Parks on the Air to guide me down the right way. What advice would you share with someone?
you can find someone that's active close to you that will let you tag along or come and see what's going on. That's a good start. The second, just do it. Just do it. Go find a comfortable place, turn your radio on, and just start hunting. Just get into the game of hunting. You can activate your park with 10 contacts. It's just park to park, and then listen. Um, listen on the air to another activator such as yourself, or and listen to how they activate. Do you want to activate like that? You want to be slower? Because some guys are calling CQ and they have a 30-second QSO with each contact. That's the way they operate. Remember, it's your station. You operate it like you want to operate that station. That's the key. And build you a good antenna, a good, efficient antenna. There you go.
And you can run QRP and be successful if you have a good antenna.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The radio, my next radio, I want that the FXCR, that little bitty guy. It's only 20 watts. It's the dude in China builds them. But anyway, I got to use one of those for several POTA activations in Stuart. I ran down to 5 watts, and I was working Italy from 5 watts from this park right up here. I get up on the top up there where it's just boom right up top. So you can do a lot with QRP, but life's too short for QRP, man.
Tell me about it. I'm actually got a lead. I got a lead. Barry N4WFU actually was telling me about when I did his interview about his special event station. He mentioned an amplifier that he bought that it works perfect for a portable because it's DC, and you can't really screw it up. If somebody who didn't know anything about tuning an amplifier or tuning an antenna to match the amplifier, if they didn't know it, the amplifier would self-protect itself. I said, hey, that sounds pretty interesting. So I went on one of our swap shop websites here in Canada, and I said, does anybody have an Ameritron 500? I can't remember the exact model number, but I put it on there. Thinking it was pretty rare. This guy from Edmonton reaches out to me and says, I got one sitting on the shelf. I haven't used it in 25 years. Make me an offer.
Okay.
I said, well, I have no idea what the thing's worth, and he said it was pre-MFJ buyout, so it was Ameritron. So it didn't even have a MFJ, stamp on it.
Right.
I said, what do you want for it? Says, he gave me a price. I said, so I'm thinking about it. And I told him I get back to him this week. I said, I'm thinking I'm just going to do it because me, you're right. Life is too short for QRP. And if I'm not going out doing parks on the air with a minimum of 250 watts. Like yesterday, I couldn't run the amplifier because I made myself the 4-wave Eagle One antenna. I did a knockoff one at home. It worked. You know what? It worked pretty good for the band condition. I want to see what it's like in good band conditions. It worked very, very well. I'll have a video on the channel on that one of these days. But I couldn't use my amplifier because I didn't have my external tuner that can handle 300 watts with me. So I'd elected to run. I have a second FTDX10 now that I take on the field. So I have that has the internal tuner on it.
Right.
So I was running 100 watts. I was running. Hey, 100 watts was good yesterday in the bad bank, and I made 400 some odd QSOs in 6 hours with them pretty bad band condition.
Yeah.
So,
I only run 100 whiskeys. I get with my radio and that's it. What I do? Who was it? It was a guy here in Arkansas. I can't remember his call sign. He went and set up with a 250 watt, and it was fun to watch. His spread went just everywhere. So it's just the wattage,
Yeah, there's Keith Alpha Charlie 1 Radio Hotel up in New Hampshire, runs 600 watts. He's got one of those little cube amplifiers.
Right.
Pushing 600 watts. And there's another, he told me about another guy, I can't remember his call now, but he goes out in the field and runs 1200 watts.
Dang.
Some big, big signals.
That's some juice, man.
But, getting back to antenna efficiency and power. So what I have learned is you have 100 watts, right? Let's say you're running 100 watts. If you have a good, efficient antenna that has some gain to it, you got to factor in ERP, effective radiated power, right? So if you have something that has a 6 dB gain, double that, right? Minus losses, right? So you got to factor in your line losses, but you can effectively double your power out effectively because you got some gain on your antenna. So an end-fed half-wave affords that. Doing the POTA Performer and a parasitic array gives you some gain.
Yeah.
So you could effectively run QRP 5 watts, but put out 25 or 50 watts because of the gain of your antenna.
That's exactly right. It's back down to those numbers. It's about getting your impedance and your resistance good, your SWR, whatever. But if you get that impedance and that resistance, your antenna will be way more efficient, and you're easy on your radio, you're easy on everything. So that's why I say build your own antenna and learn. Learn as much.
A lot of guys get bent or too focused on SWR and forget about the reactance and the inductance.
Yeah, you've got
measurements.
Well, once I finally learned that, playing with that antenna, that in-fed, like I was talking about, my SWR on 40 meters is 1.7, but my reactance is like 1.2, and the resistance is like 43. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? But in-fed halfway, again, it is what it is. But that, you can take that elevated vertical and you can get that thing where it's just very good. I mean, it's just right there. The numbers are fantastic. So again, it's playing around. But a lot of people don't play around, Stuart. They just go buy something. They don't, they just throw it in a tree. I suggest build something, man. Learn it and build it. You'll learn a lot more.
I was like that back in the day when I first got started. I just go buy, I bought the end fed halfway from my antennas and I loved it. And I bought a second one. And I got two of them strung here in the house. But we're doing some tower work this year. We're taking we have a tapered section on our tower. We're taking that down, and I have a G1000 rotator that I'm putting in the cage, and I'm putting a 40-meter dipole on my tower, like a rotatable dipole.
Sweet.
So I had to have something a bit more heavier to handle that extra weight.
Yeah.
And we're putting we got a new tower section coming in, and I got the KIO hex beam, which is absolutely fantastic for all the upper bands.
That's a good antenna.
Oh, it is 100%. Talk about efficiency. That thing is efficient, like you wouldn't believe. All hex beams, if they're built correctly, are like that. But I can't wait to the next winter to come. I can't wait for winter to come around.
Yeah.
So I can spin the 40-meter dipole towards Japan long path and work all my Japan friends on 40 meters in the evening, because I can do it right now with the end fed, but I'm getting 5.7 and my buddy down the street's getting 20 over 9, right?
So gotcha.
Yeah, but I didn't want to put I was going to buy a Mosley TA63 with a 40-meter add-on kit, big honking antenna, right? And get an 80-foot tower, put an 80-foot tower up, and I went, that's 20 grand.
Man.
I can do a lot. I can have a lot more fun building portable stuff with 20 grand, right? I can travel. I just saw Cape Verde on POTA today for the first time. I could travel to somewhere like Cape Verde for a vacation, play POTA there, and still have money left over to, support my bourbon and cigar hive.
There you go. Hey, man, it's easy. I can spend your money easy. I say do it.
Yeah. So I started building stuff. I got all kinds of stuff. It was my friend in Israel that I was talking about buying some balance. And which balance would you buy? He said, just build your own. I said, well, I've never done that before. So he said, it's easy. So I bought some kits from Palomar Engineering, and I made my first 9-to-1 balance.
Cha-ching.
I don't know if it's any good. I'm going to compare it to my commercial 9-to-1 and see how the difference is. Because I looked at it and went, man, that's kind of shady. I didn't kind of put together like very, very poorly.
Does it work though? There you go. Does it work?
That's right. And it's guys like Salty Walt and other guys like that who are constantly building stuff and showing you what they're doing. And it was funny because when I was out yesterday, I was out at early in the morning. It was like just at sunrise, and I'm sitting on the shore of the Bay of Fundy with salt water all around me, and I haven't got the antenna all the way up, or I didn't have the counterpoises up yet, and I hear Victor Kilo 6 calling on 20 meters as well. He's really loud. Let me go see if I can get him. So I quickly hit the tune button on the radio, and the antenna tuned up, but I couldn't hear North America. So the net control guys were in North America.
Right.
So I couldn't hear him, and the VK6 couldn't hear me over the other North American stations, because I'm running a vertical that's not fully up yet, and running 100 watts. Anyway, I hear this Victor Kilo 6 working Walt, K4OGO.
Gotcha.
So I messaged Walt, I can't even hear you. Like, I can hear Neville calling you, but I can't hear you. And actually on his YouTube video this morning was that same conversation that I overheard. But that's the fun part of this hobby. It's just, trying new things. I love Martin, I love going out first thing in the morning before the sun even comes up setting up, because the Victor kilos just pour into here in the summertime in the early morning hours. And then, of course, as the year goes on, around 4 o'clock my time, they start coming in long pass. So talking about experimenting and making yourself efficient at tennis, and a lot of POTA guys will say, well, I can't work those guys. I'm in the middle of the country. Yes, there's some truth to being on the edges, like on the beach, on the shores, the coast, like I am.
Right.
But I can also replicate that in the middle of Canada. It's just about having the right equipment and the right know-how. And I'm not saying I'm an expert on building anything. I mean, redneck engineering galore over here, right? But it works. And and good operating skills too are very, very important. And POTA, as a core on the air program, teaches us how to improve our operating skills. Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah, 100%, because that's the whole, handling traffic. You learn how to handle traffic, and it teaches you skill, and those skills can come in handy. 1974 tornado came through Forest City, Arkansas. F4 destroyed everything. My dad and his buddy went to the state police, set up a dipole, and was able to work traffic from Memphis to Little Rock, get the resources needed, and for people to find out if they were safe. My dad was, I think he was in the August edition of QST of 1974 for that episode. But he learned all that through handling traffic and how to relay traffic, and that's a skill that really needs to keep going. Oh, almost said over.
And I'm sure if you look online somewhere, I'm sure you can find a copy of that edition of the 1974 QST. There's got to be It's got to be an archive of it somewhere, right? So,
yeah,
it's been great catching up with you, man. I really value as a hunter of new parks. That's my number. I mean, that's my chasing DX and hunting new parks. That's kind of my focus in ham radio. But there are a few hunt activators out there that I will buck the trend to call, even if I had that park 10 times. You're one of them. Just because I like the energy that you bring to ham radio.
I appreciate that. Well, I've got 87 parks to go, and I'll have all of Arkansas activated. So maybe you need some of those.
If I see a little orange dot with a 0 on it, I'm calling you. I'm calling.
Come on.
I usually hear you no problem here. Hey, Martin, thanks for coming on and doing this, man. I really appreciate everything you do for ham radio. Again, the energy that you bring. In closing, anything about Parks on the Air or any programs out there that you want to share with somebody to get them started?
I would, again, if you're brand new, I would find an Elmer that can help you, but there's only, you're going to go get baptized in it. Just go with somebody and just go baptize yourself. You'll figure it out later, man. That's the beauty of it. I appreciate what you do, Stuart. You're a good dude.
I really appreciate our friendship on the air. Now it's nice to have a sit down with you and actually talk without a bunch of HF noise and QRM getting in the way.
Right.
I appreciate it, my friend. Be well. Get out there, do those other 87 parks that we don't have yet in Arkansas. And I know I don't know. I guess they do have a worked all parks in a state award. So
yeah, they do.
Look forward to getting that, and keep us abreast on your journeys and what you got on to go. And maybe next year sometime we'll come back and do part 2 and say, hey, what's changed since the first interview?
Game on.
I really appreciate it, my friend. Get out there and play some ham radio, make some contact, and we'll definitely catch you on the air.
All right, man. POTA Vida, be good, dude. Man, I appreciate you a whole bunch because you were one of the first activators that I really started listening to. And you learn, and people there's a lot of uptightness, and people get pissy and stuff like that. And it's, man, everybody just relax, and you're relaxed. You're fast though. That's where I learned, dude. I learned from watching you, man. That boy look how many contests he getting.
Well, there's a secret to that. I'll tell you this, because I in my professional world, I was a sales and marketing professional, and eventually ran my own marketing agency. And I always had to be turned on as an extrovert, turned on to talk to people, and that's why these interviews kind of I could do them. I'm winging it, right? No preparation. But once the microphones are turned off and I went home, I was very much an introvert. I didn't want to talk to anyone. And it was when I got back into ham radio a few years ago after taking some time off, I really got interested I got bit by the contest bug and the DX bug, and eventually the Parks on the Air, because I just kind of stumbled upon it. And what I liked about it was I didn't have to have a conversation with too many people. It was just a quick signal report, and that was it, right? And I kind of like that. And for me to have a real conversation with somebody, I got to get to know them first, right? For me just to talk about things out of the blue without any real common denominator, it's tough. Now I've done that. I mean, I had a conversation with a guy the other day in Scotland who was from the same part of Scotland that my family's from.
Really?
So it was very easy to have a conversation with him about that. But just to pull it, have a conversation out of the blue with somebody I don't really know, it's difficult for me. But ham radio, once I get to know people, allows me, like Brandon, Kilo Zulu 4, Charlie Papa. When he calls me, it's easy to talk to him for a minute or so in the middle of an activation, or the Kegman, or even Stephen Victor Echo 3, Papa Tango Alpha. You know, these guys, you know, you get to create relations with them over time, and it's like a big fraternity.
Yeah, that's it, a fraternity. It's a brotherhood, man.
Exactly, it is. It's like masonry.
It's a brotherhood.
Brotherhood, right? Without you having to do all the rituals behind masonry. Anyway, thanks again, my friend. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us today and sharing your insights. I'm Stuart, Victor Echo 9, Charlie Foxtrot. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know what you think of the POTA Performers series. I just like doing it because I get to talk to people I talk to on the air all the time, and we get to BS a little bit and share our stories. Martin, once again, thanks, my friend. Really appreciate you being out there, and we'll see you guys in a future video.
73.